Hello everyone, today we make this very short video about late medieval Iberian flags. For the sake of completeness, there's scheduled something else, not to disappoint you, at least quantitative. But this video is really simple, right? Just listing some flags, banners, standards, and addressing some heraldic aspects, but very simple ones that go also in the video, albeit not synchronized. So first one is the coat of arms of Castile and Leon, right? That is this quarterly 1 and 4 ghoul and a castle tribal towered or 2-and-3 argent, a lion, a rampant sable. So the coat of arms of Castile and Leon is the traditional, essentially, arms of Castile, with the yellow castle quartered with the arms of Leon, the purple lion, when the two kingdoms were united in 1230 by Ferdinand III. And the lion design is attributed to Alfonso VII, who became King of Castile and Leon in 1126. And the castle symbol is attributed to his grandson Alfonso VIII. And 1230 there is the quartered arms as a symbol of the union properly taken place. And until the 16th century, at least, a full castle with walls and 3 towers rather than the current town design was used. And the first instance of a figure of the lion instead as a symbol of the Kingdom of Leon is found in minted coins of Alfonso VII called the Emperor. Always remember this imperial dimension of the properly of Iberian kingdoms, right? We're considering the peninsula altogether as one thing we had to exercise their imperial rule, and not just on the Christians but also on the Jews and the Muslims at the same time. That's when Castile properly was seized by the Christians. That was the deal from Toledo, the ideal center of the peninsula, as this kind of imperial duty of the sovereign to take care of all the communities of Iberia. And until then, the cross had a preponderant position on the documents and coins of the Leonese monarchs. Since that reign, the cross was gradually displaced by the lion. And some historians believe that the lion was already used as a heraldic emblem in 1148, and at the end of the reign of Alfonso VII, this figure of the animal, the specific animal, to appear on royal documents as personal advice of the monarch, and became pervasive during the reigns of Ferdinand II, 1157, 1188, and Alfonso IX, 1188, 1230. Then, here it's important to stress also, for what could appear on the battlefield, there would be properly royal standards that sometimes inverted for the sake of, literally the proportions of the standard itself, very much in width rather than in height. In fact, the inverted colors. It's the case of the Royal Standard of Aragon. That is simply these bars, essentially, that are to be seen to be found historically on some sepulchres of Aragonese king, traced. I think the proper meaning is unknown, but fundamentally, red and gold. Well, in these standards, Aragon's arms were properly striped horizontally, with the bars striped horizontally. This is dated from evidence of around 1400, right? While, as we know, in the coat of arms, they're actually paley, that is, in heraldry, striped vertical. Then we have a similar one for same date from Portugal, right? So the national heraldry of Portugal actually evolved from the royal heraldry, with the royal coat of arms gradually coming to be considered a national coat of arms. And it changed, was modified and altered for almost a millennium, actually. And it starts with the cross azure on field argent, which constituted the putative shield, at least of Henry, Count of Portugal, as back in as far as the 12th century. And we have this, this evidence for 1400, we have the same Portuguese standard, Portugal flag in white with 5 blue escutcheons, right, charged with plates, that is essentially silver roundels, and a red border charged with gold castles, and the ends of a green cross fleury, which signified King Joao's former position as master of the Order of Abbots, and his dynasty ruled Portugal from 1383. Then, considering also Navarre in the northeast of the peninsula, its coat of arms consisted, as you know, it was a kingdom proper as well, consisted of these golden chains arranged against a red background, with an emerald in the center of the pattern linked to the 8 chains. And an early appearance of this symbol is in the seal of Theobald I of Navarre, and the design may have been based on the heraldic carbuncle symbol of 8 radially arranged rods. And there are also these chains found in Roncesvalles, that, as you know, is a quite meaningful location for, not much for the actual, believe the Christian Islamic struggle, but actually the Frankish Basque struggle, given that the Carolingians were defeated essentially by the Basques, the rearguard, the story of the Roland, etc. And it's said that these chains that are in Roncesvalles church might have inspired the coat of arms of Navarre. Right. I think at this point they are in the museum of Roncesvalles, but I'm not sure. Never been there. However, by the 15th century, the myth of the Navarrese coat of arms goes. It dates back to the Battle of Las Navas in 1212, involving Sancho VII of Navarre in the Christian coalition, where the cavalry broke the chains of the caliph's slave warriors, right, that had been tied not to flee, and captured an emerald among other prizes. So, at least this is the the history as it goes. Eventually, Navarre would be conquered. The Iberian Navarre would be conquered by the Spanish in 1512. Then, very interesting are also the coat of arms of the military orders in Spain. Here we have some examples of in the pictures of the Order of Calatrava, comprising a red cross fleury on a white field from the Alba Bible. I'd like to find them also in black field. And the standards of Alcantara and Aves were the same, but with the cross in green, though. Famous is also the coat of arms of the Order of Santiago, that are depicted pretty much everywhere as Santiago, essentially mounted on a white horse, crushing the Moors, there are different types. You know, we have evidence, for example, a red damask battle flag in a late 12th century manuscript. From the early 16th century, we see red with a white cross and brown escallops, right? While other sources refer to an escallop being borne, quote, below the guard of the order's espada badge. And a print dated to the 20s of the 16th century actually shows the order's device as an espada centered within an escallop. And there would be actually a lot to say about these things. I consulted some heraldry books, but unfortunately I'm not very documented. Naturally, we list also the Muslim standards. There is a map by Irescas of Mallorca dated to 1375 that depicts the flags of the Muslim states of Granada and Tlemcen, which are respectively in an orange/red color with black Arabic script, while the other is white with a gold crescent. We have from the same source also another Grenadine flag. Grenadine armies were usually accompanied battle by a platter of other flags, just like in Christian armies was the case. There is evidence. There is one, for example, captured during the Reconquista. There are interesting flags stripped from the mast, and it's also as dating as back as Las Navas, right? So very ancient. There is one from the Battle of Lucena, and we can just say that most Nasrid military banners appeared, as in this case, to have been red and incorporating traditional religious inscriptions. I think one of the most famous that goes in most depictions of even what could consider like the official Nasrid banner says in Arab "Va la Galiba illa la," which means only God is winner. And Grenadine banners usually reflect a persistent similarity also with European heraldry, right? We're talking about Spain, right? It's the same country, albeit with some distinctive Islamic features, such as, for example, the hand of Fatima on the shields, on the banners, of course, etc. Then we have, as we've seen also from North Africa, but we will make another video about this, some crescents are typical of, you couldn't even say about the Arab background, because I think Carthaginians having had the same thing, but, the crescent, in fact, being a very old military symbol, used also even by the Romans, by the Byzantines, the Ottomans, etc. I think dating back at least to Sumer times, Mesopotamia, and having this idea of crescent power, naturally, in itself. And it goes as simply as that. So for today, just hope you enjoyed this small contribution. If you did, please share it. Otherwise, leave a like or subscribe to my channel if you're interested in my upcoming content. For now, I thank you heartily for listening to me. I wish you a nice time and see you next time. Bye.